All right, you guys, good morning. This is Karla, and I'm going to actually not mute the lines today, so please be careful. If you're in a place where it's noisy, please press mute on your phone so that we could be listening to the call. So as you can hear, I am really under the weather. I've actually been sick now for like a week. And so this is a lesson for you guys, as we have shared in the past, that, really you are a cause of your business. You are the cause of your... What I can tell you is that you're also the cause of your health. And I want to share this with you guys really quick because I think that sometimes, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes we forget that emotions can manifest in your body. And your body will always be talking to you. And if any of you guys have ever read or listened to anything from Louise Hay, she's somebody who for many, 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 many years has talked about how your body, whether it's cancer or a lot of ailments that people have, many times, almost always, is manifested through emotion. So science has actually been able to prove that there is a correlation between somebody having a good state of mind and having good health. And, some scientists even agree that people that have a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, and things like that they actually get manifested in the body and many times lead, can end up as cancer. So, I don't have any resentment or anything like that, but I will tell you that over the last weekend, not this weekend that just passed, but the weekend before that, I was at a seminar, and I was at a transformational seminar, and I was going through a lot of emotional stuff, right? And there was something that I wanted to communicate, but I held myself back from doing it. And it was something that was important to me, and I got really emotional, like I was in tears, but I held it back, right? And sure enough, my throat started shutting down. And any of you guys who know about the chakras, we are in energy sources. We have 7 energy sources in our body, with the 5th one being in our throat. It's all about communication. And I felt my throat just shutting and shutting and shutting. And next thing you know it got a little worse, and I got a little worse. And here we are, right? Like almost a week out now. So the moral of this lesson is, if you have something to say, be responsible, right? But definitely communicate it, especially when it's something that it matters. And what I needed to communicate and was there for me was not only an emotional stress, but it was something that was really important. And I was pretending and I was hiding a lot of emotions. And here we are, manifested in the throat. So, I know that what I've got going on is an emotional thing. Is my body's all was stressed out. I put it through a lot of stress over the weekend. I didn't take care of my well-being. I didn't sleep well. I wasn't drinking enough water, and here we are. You can only take your vitamins can only do so much, right? You got to do the other part. So anyhow, the reason why I'm telling you this is because lesson number 1 is make sure you take care of your well-being, and part of that is taking care of the emotional part of ourselves. We hold things back that are important to us, and next thing you know, life is so short, we got to communicate. So that's that. Anyhow, so what I thought I would do today, because every time I talk, I end up coughing a lot, so I got some tea here with me, but sorry. What I would like to do is I would love to open up the line, so if you're in a noisy place, please press mute on your phone. I'm going to open up the lines, and what I would love to do is I would love to hear from you guys. How have you applied, there we go, how have you applied this sales as a personal thing concept? How have you applied it out in the marketplace so that everybody else on the phone here, so I'm going to ask you to be generous today. Not only generous to me so that you can help me generate this call today, but also generous to everybody on the phone, because I think sometimes we think something is really a great idea, like, oh, yeah, we want the prospect to experience themselves in a different way, but sometimes we don't know how that looks. We don't know how to apply it. And so by hearing other people share, by other people sharing how they did it, it will spark an idea in the rest of the group. So I would love for you, I'm going to open up the line. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. And so I would love to know who would like to share how have you applied it And what, how have you applied it and what have been the results? Or just how have you applied it and what have you noticed? Who would like to share?
Good morning, Karla. This is Sal.
Sal, okay, great. So Sal, I'm going to close the line and I'm going to ask you to press *6 when I tell you. So hold on. 6. And that should open up your line. So go ahead and press *6 or *5. I forget. One of those two. Go ahead and press *5 or *6, and that will open up your line.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Was it *5 or *6?
*6. Perfect.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So the interesting part of what I've applied is when you went over, when people want to be, they want you to find them, and using, conversations to go ahead and ask those questions, even the questions that are sometimes we feel are, a little uncomfortable, but using those questions, not just to guide the conversation, but to dig a little bit deeper. And so that's what I've been applying lately, and it's been working tremendously well. I've made really good connections with about 3 or 4 people so far that way. A couple of these people are currently doing other programs, other weight loss programs that I've been able to, get them at least to give this a try. Just got a call from one of them today, and she was astounded. She was amazed at the type of progress in 5 days. She's lost 3 pounds, and she just was amazed. And so, by asking those questions, digging a little deeper, painting that picture of what they're going to go through, what they're going to feel, just painting that picture for them and actually.
Okay, hold on. This is really great. Sorry to interrupt you, but this is really great. So I also want to take this opportunity to train you guys on how to teach, okay?
Yes.
So here's the thing. This is really great. You're telling us what you did, you're like as a concept, like, oh yeah, I dug a little deeper, and that's really great. But here's the thing, you guys. When you share, if you can be vivid about your share, then that will put us in the experience with you. Therefore, I will have a clear idea of how I can do it. So, for example, I could say something like, by the way, thank you so much for being the first one, Sal. I really appreciate it. So, for example, you could say something to the effect, and this is what I want you to do. I want to say, I want you to tell us, okay, you know what? I met this lady. She was trying, so put us in that experience. Take us on that journey with you, right? This is how, to apply what you've been learning with this shares. I met this lady. She's taking another program. So you give us the idea. She's taking another program. And so I started asking her, okay, why, what are you looking for? So instead of you telling me, I asked her questions. Share with us what questions you asked. Take us there. And I know this is really hard for men. See, girls, we're good at this. And you men are like, oh my God, get to the point, right? And we're like, oh my God, then I said, then she said, then she said, then I said, and I felt, and she said, right? And you men are like, oh my God, right? So this is an opportunity for the men to get vivid with their shares, because also, Sal, what this will do, let's say you're training a new person. Let's say you're training a new distributor, and you're wanting them, and instead of saying ask questions to get deeper, that other person's thinking what questions do I ask? But instead, if you're like, you know what, I met this lady, she wasn't not taking our program, she was taking something else. Then I asked her, so why are you taking that program? And so tell us what you asked, what she said. I mean, don't take forever, okay? So let's be clear, let's be short with this. But what you said, what she answered. Oh God! And then obviously you already told us the results. But so go ahead, give that a chance.
Okay, no problem. All right, so this person, her name is Trina. She's a woman. She's in her mid-30s. She's been coming out to the boot camps, and she's been getting great results just with that. She approached me last week about giving Herbalife a shot because she's been hearing these stories, and she was amazed by the results. So she asked me if I would sit down with her and explain to her, what can we do as far as getting on a program. So, the first question I asked her is oh, well, great. I'm glad you you're listening to these stories, and I'm glad you're inspired. So what is your goal? What are you actually wanting to do? That was the first question. And she explained that she had been doing this for the program for a while, and she's lost some weight, but her goal is to slim down, to lose weight. She's an obese woman, and she wants to lose quite a few pounds, approximately 75 to 80 pounds. And so that was the first question I asked. Her response was, okay, great. And I said, why are you wanting to lose that much weight? Is there a certain issue that you're dealing with, or why? Tell me why. And she said, well, I have a son, and I want to be healthy to take care of him, to show him that, I'm trying to live a healthy life, so that way I can also teach him to live a healthy life as well, and just to better my health overall. That was the first question. And then, second question I asked her was, okay, great. What made you decide to make the jump from your program to this program? And she says her response was she really liked.
Good question.
Right. Her response was she's been coming out to the boot camps, and she really likes this atmosphere. She says that there's a good positive feel about it and a good Christian feel to our group that's running the boot camps. Thanks to all the guys running it. The guys are amazing. And I said, well, that's great. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad that you feel that atmosphere. That means we're doing a great job. And then after that, the very next question was, when are you ready to get started? And she said, I'm ready to get started now.
I'm going to interrupt you really quick. Okay, so this is great. So you guys, thank you so much, Sal, I hope you don't mind me, breaking this down, because I think this is really, really great. So here's the thing, you guys. Listen to what Sal did. Okay, I'm just going to add something to what you could do to make it even more deeper. Okay. So when she said, why did you switch? What made you decide to give this an opportunity, or however you worded it, right? That was great question, right? Because that gives you the world of. Here's the thing. Now you know what will work. Oh my God. Sorry. Now you know what will work next time you have somebody with you that is on another program. Okay? And again, it's the experience that they had at the fit camp. And so here's the thing. When she said, the fit camp, whatever she said, I forgot. But here's the thing. When she said what she said, and you said, oh, I'm really glad you feel that way. Okay, that's really great. There's nothing wrong with that. But what if you could recreate what she just said for herself? Here's what I mean by that. So many times people say things like, oh, I came here because, I love how you guys are so positive, and every time I come here, I feel so inspired, and I really feel like I want to make better choices with my life when I'm around you guys. You guys are just great. Rather than just saying oh, I'm glad you feel that way, right? Which is fine. But here's what's even more effective with them is to say, oh, wow, Mary, you know what? That makes me so happy to hear that every time you come here, you feel motivated, and every time you come here, you feel inspired to make better choices, and it makes me super happy that every time you come here, we can transmit that positive energy to you. So I just said everything she just said to me, I said it back to her. What that will do, okay, is that so many times we just talk to talk, and not just talk to talk, but we talk and we don't even know what we're saying. Okay, so when you recreate it for her, she gets present to what she just said, and she gets present to what she has been experiencing with you. Does that make sense, Al?
Yes, it does.
And so that makes it more effective. So, and now here's another thing. I'm going to take this moment. Let me put on my sweater here. So I'm going to take this moment to even make it even deeper. So let's say someone says, I just love coming here, right? And you go, really? Why? Tell me, what is it about this fit camp that you love coming here so much for? So here's another landmark distinction, okay? It's called being curiously engaged. If you guys have some notes, you want to write that down. If not, memorize that word. You want to be curiously engaged. which means you're engaged with that person, but you're curious to know more. So someone says, oh, what'd you have for breakfast? And I say, oh, I had a shake. And you're like, oh, cool, man. But instead you say, oh, you had a shake? That's great. What flavor did you have? Oh, I had cookies and cream. Did you how did you make it? Oh, I made it with just water and PDM. Did you put any ice or any fruit in it? Oh, yeah? What kind? So you get the picture, okay? So you start asking questions. You've got men, by the way. Women love it when you do this to us, okay? Just FYI. Especially, obviously you want to do this with your clients, but, if you're a significant other, when you're like, how was your day? Good. All right, cool. Right? We women, we like to be vivid, okay? So even men, you guys, if you were to tell a dude, hey, man, would you have a shake? Oh, cool. How'd you have it? What'd you put in it? Oh, did you put some strawberries in it? Then they'll be like, no, I didn't even know I could put fruit in it. Yeah, man, you can put fruit in it. You can put this in it. You can put that in it. I do it like this. I do it like that. And now you create a whole world called making a shake. And it's not boring of water and PDM and shake and that's it. So those are two things I want to address with what you just said, okay, is you want to recreate somebody so that they can be more effective, and you can be more curiously engaged with the conversation when they give you a superficial answer, okay? Awesome, or symbolic answer as we have distinguished in the calls. All right, cool. Sal, anything else, or can I go to somebody else?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. All right, let me open up the line. Hang on a second really quick. Who else would like to share?
Karla, this is Jennifer. I would love to share.
Go ahead. One so that your line can get unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, and I want you to take what I just coached Sal on and share with us so that you put us in that experience so that we can take away from what you did and how you did it. Go ahead, girl.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so I've had 3 or 4 amazing experiences, but I'm just going to touch on one in particular, which I thought was really cool. So I had this shake party, and it was a group of about 6 or 7 girls, and everybody was coming in and was very friendly, but there was this one girl who was kind of standoffish. You could tell that, she came in a big black T-shirt. She came in with her 2 kids. She wasn't really listening to me when I was kind of presenting and sharing my story. She was very involved with them. And, afterwards, everybody seemed really engaged in, what I had to talk about. And, you guys want to talk about your personal goals. And it was really great because at the end of it, I talked to everybody, but I kind of saved her for last. And so everybody ended up leaving, and her and I finally got to talking. And, I was just like, so I had everybody kind of write ahead of time what their goals were on a piece of paper and that we would go over them later. Well, I noticed that hers were weight loss, and I was like, noticed that she'd like to lose, some weight, and, what are your goals? And she was like, I don't know. She's like, I just be happy, with this. And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't want to know what you'd be happy with, but I know what it is that you want. Obviously it would feel good to get back to that size that you were, before you started feeling really bad. But what if we could do better? I want to know what it is that you want. And, she kind of looked at me and she was just like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, what would make you feel beautiful? And she just kind of started tearing up. And it was really cool because she was just like, I haven't felt beautiful in a really long time. And I'm just like, you're a woman, you're a wife, you've got 2 kids. I was like, but it's still important to feel beautiful, to feel good about yourself. And she's like, I haven't felt good about myself in a long time. And I'm like, okay, so what would that look like for you? Tell me, I'm your genie. Your wish is my command. What do you want? Tell me what you want. And she was like, okay, I want to get down to a size 5. And I was like, okay, great, let's do it. And I'm like, so how do you want to feel every day when you wake up in the morning? And she's like, I want to have tons of energy. I want to be able to play with my kids and chase them around. And I'm like, okay, she kept trying to want to give me these on the surface answers, but I kept digging. And you could see it in her face that I almost felt like I was offending her. It was almost like tough love. But at the end of it, she ended up posting on my Facebook how much she enjoyed the shake party, how excited she is that I'm going to coach her, and how she could really feel that I cared about her and I cared about them. And I've had 4 people tell me that at every shake party I've had this past week, that I've been really able to dig in deeper with. And it's been an incredible experience.
Okay, this perfect share, Jennifer. Great, because I think everybody here on the phone could definitely be there at the meeting with you, right? And we can feel what she could have felt with those questions. So I'm going to take this time to coach some people that probably are thinking like, well, that's good for Jennifer, but I don't know if I could do that. So here's the thing. First of all, everybody on the phone, this question is what, how did you ask her, how were you when you, what did you ask her about being beautiful, feeling beautiful? What did you ask her?
I asked her what would make her feel beautiful.
There you go. What would make you feel beautiful? Men and women. That is the most amazing question to ask a woman. And I'm just totally off subject, but I want you to get how relevant or how relevant that question is to any situation. I have a friend who's a contract CEO, so companies hire him to be a CEO for their company temporarily, right? And he became a CEO of a floral company for flowers, right? And that was a question they would ask many times. When a man would call and say, I want to send flowers to my wife or whatever, right? And they said, what flowers do you think would have her feel beautiful? Okay, so it's so awesome that you said that, Jennifer, because they sold so many more flowers that way. Because at the end of the day, why do you send somebody flowers? Why do you sell somebody a program? Why do you take someone on vacation? It's because you want them to have an experience of themselves in a different way. So if somebody sends a woman flowers, it's because you want that woman at that moment, if she's having a bad day, she gets the flowers in the office, and now she has a different experience, a different feeling. Listen to the word I'm saying. She will relate to herself in a different way. So when you ask that woman that question, you did exactly that, right? A flower is an instant satisfaction, gratification of a switch in emotion. But you took her on the journey by asking her, what would have you feel beautiful? What would make you feel beautiful? And, of course, especially as women who many times people aren't, especially you guys got to tell your woman, by the way, totally side note, you got to tell her, babe, you look so pretty today. Even if you think you already told her that yesterday, we love to hear it, okay? So anyhow, so when we don't get that, okay, when we don't get that in somebody, and a perfect stranger is saying that, immediately that makes that person feel like, wow, like you took her on a journey immediately. So that's awesome. And the other thing that you did really great was, right, you dug deep, and I love what you said about tough love. Now, for all the people on the phone who feel like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, or you don't see, here's the thing, everybody has a personality. My mother could tell a person the rudest comment. Let's say that she says, God, you're so pretty, if only you didn't have so many zits on your face. I'm just making that up, right? And because she comes from a place of love, that person doesn't get offended. If anything, they're like, oh, my God, thank you so much. I don't know how to get rid of these pimples, right? So here's the thing for all of us, because I don't think I have that skill set to be so blunt and have somebody be so like, oh, it's okay. So one of the things that I do, and this is, I'm going to give you guys a little like crash course on landmarks, is that one of the things is that you can create yourself in a certain way before you speak to somebody. So, for example, let's say you guys, let's say I were to be really tough and I've got like this mannerism that sometimes I come across really straightforward. And if I'm about to speak to somebody who looks pretty fragile or maybe, I don't know, whatever, right? In my mind, and you guys could create this for yourself, remember your words create a world. So in your mind, if you were to take a step, like just take a deep breath, even as you're walking towards the prospect, and you can even say this to yourself in your head or even out loud, whatever works for you, and say, who I am is love. And what will happen is you will come from that place. Like you declare yourself to be a specific way, and you will notice that you will show up that way. So if you're about to talk tough love, you could like, even in your mind, even if you know the conversation is going the wrong way, or you're getting too tough and you feel like, oh, I don't want to offend this person, but I'm about to say something that could offend them. Before you open your mouth and say that thing that you think could offend them, you could say, who I am is compassion. Who I am is care. Whatever you want to say, and then you say what you say, and I promise you, if you really believe at that moment, like who I am. So, for example, for me, I always state whenever I'm coaching my landmark people, I say who I am is love and compassionate contribution. And that's how I come across. Okay, so that's just a little tip, but awesome share, Jennifer. Awesome share. Anything else you want to share before we move on to conclude the call?
I would just like to add that something that's been really, really helping me lately is, I've been going up to every person with the intent of, I'm going to change your life. And it automatically puts me, just like you were saying, in that place of love, because I remember how Herbalife changed my life, and I'm fired up, and I'm excited, and I'm passionate about helping somebody else change theirs. And by kind of telling them that, it's almost a pre-warning to let them know that I'm going to dig deeper. And it's a way of getting their permission to let me, take them into that world.
And let me ask you this. Are you saying this to them, or are you saying this to yourself?
Sometimes I say it to them directly.
Okay, great. And sometimes do you just say it to yourself?
Yeah. It's just kind of the intent I have with every, that's why I coach. That's why I do what I do, because I want to help people change their lives. It's not to sell a product. It is to change people's lives. That's my goal.
Awesome. So here's the thing. I want to just, exactly what Jennifer just said, right? Her words created her world, right? Her experience with that person. It's like, I'm about to change this person's life. So when you walk up to somebody, I remember Martha Cervantes, she's a press team member. She used to always see, before she would go and give somebody a flyer, she would say, this person wants to work with me. Like in her head, she would say that, this person wants to work with me. And so guess what? What happened? They would want to work with her. So you guys, especially you guys watch your words, not only the ones you say out loud, but more importantly, the ones you say to yourself. Because if you're thinking, nobody really wants this, well, yeah, you're right, okay? So be careful, and then why not, if you're going to say anything, why not say something that's going to be productive? Like, I'm going to change this person's life. This person's going to want to work with me. Whatever it is that your objective or your intention is, that's what's going to get manifested. So awesome, sir, Jennifer. Or share? Who else wants to share? I think the lines are unmuted. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I had you guys on mute. Okay, who wants to share? One more. We'll take one more share real quick. Okay, how about it? Does anybody have a question about anything? Are you guys there? Someone say something so I make sure the lines are not muted.
You're not muted.
Okay, good. Okay, anybody else?
Hi.
Okay.
Hi. I'll share mine. I'll share really quick.
Go ahead, Hector.
Okay, cool. It's Hector. Yeah, mine's quick. So I put out a quick challenge to a few friends and family on Facebook for a 3-day sample, and I had a couple people that wanted to do it, and one of them was a friend from high school. And I know I've seen her on Facebook. She's definitely overweight, but went over to her house, took her to 3 samples, and we just started talking. And I really went in with the focus of asking questions and listening. And because I know we get so excited about the products and what it can do and everything, it's so easy to just go on and on, right, because we love it so much. But I really focused on that, and it worked really well. She started talking, telling me, how it's been for her and, her personal life, and, just connected with her really well. And then I asked her, so what is it you're looking for? What difference are you looking to feel, to have? And she started telling me, about she doesn't feel well. She's, lack of energy. She wants to be able to not be that fat mom, sitting around, while her child runs around and she can't keep up with her. And she started kind of getting a little emotional, because she was at the park and she went down the slide with her daughter, and it was like the little kid slide or the smaller one, and she literally got stuck. You know, so that was, I felt that was pretty deep, you know, and you can tell she was almost trying to laugh it off, but I know it was something that really hit her deep. So I said, okay, you know, and then I asked her, well, how do you want to feel, you know? And she started telling me, you know, more energy, and I just want to be able to run around with her. I'm like, great, Sarah, well, that's what I'm here to help you with. And, you know, we're going to get this thing going. And she was super excited, and I asked her, well, and I told her my favorite line. I said,
tell him what you want. You guys got to listen to this.
I said, well, I'm gonna definitely keep you accountable. I'm gonna challenge you, and I'm gonna give you an experience you've never had before. Are you ready for that? And she smiled and she said yes. And I was like, all right.
Okay, say it again. You guys, that is so awesome. So say it again.
Yeah, so I said, I'm definitely gonna keep you accountable. I'm gonna challenge you, and I'm gonna give you an experience you've never had before. Are you ready for that? And she said yes.
Awesome.
It was kind of like the seal of the deal. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. That also, what that will do, it also, okay, before I say about that, I want to just point out something Hector did really, really well, and that is she took her to a dark place, right? Like, when the whole, how she felt so bad, and she was in tears, but he didn't leave her there. He did not leave her in that dark place, right? He then said, okay, great, so how would you like to feel? And now he brought her over to the light side, right? It's so important that we don't leave people in the dark. You guys want to know, you want to have them to have a good, a different experience, but we want to be responsible that we leave people empowered and enabled to have, like, you know, a powerful life. And so we want to make sure that we're responsible in leaving them in a positive place, because what we're doing is just getting to know who they are, getting to know why they're what, so that we can better serve them. Right? So then we want to now know what is it that they want. And if you guys were to write down, make sure you write down, you know, I remember when I first started my business, I had like so many clients. And one of the things that got me to have so many clients and shake parties and referrals were that I would always, you know, write down what their goals were, right? And every time I would follow up, I would always end the call reminding them. You know, so like, for example, something to the effect of, you know, okay, so, you know, so 2 pounds this week or whatever, right? It's like, that's awesome, sweetheart. You're that much closer to the goal of going back to that moment that you felt beautiful. So keep going. Don't, you know, the weekend's coming up, you know, so I would send them texts on Monday, like inspirational quotes on Monday. And then on Friday, I would send them a funny quote, like, you know, of some lady with a big old butt in a song, you know, like, don't let this be you this weekend, you know, you know, be good or whatever, right? Just to keep them motivated. And then what Hector just did, as far as, you know, I'm going to, you know, hold you accountable, you know, I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to give you an experience you never had before. Are you ready for that? By you doing that, you're putting in their face what they're going to experience. You're getting them present to what they're going to experience, but also you're also reminding yourself, Hector, of what is your job with that person. So it's a win-win. It's a reminder for both. So awesome shares, you guys. So thank everybody for participating in my generating this call. I will be completely 100% better by next week. So take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your well-being, and we'll hear you guys next week at the same time. So God bless everyone, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.